Okay, so we tried to leave Colombia.
It's like sailing into a dream. We're about to go into a fictional place that doesn't really exist.
I vote we put a mask on you, tie you off with a bowline and throw you off the back.
And we're sailing. It feels so good.
I don't know, do we do education? For those who don't know how lazy jacks work, it's weird, you can smell the rainforest.
We were just starting to think that this passage was going to be super boring because absolutely nothing is happening and we're motoring for 24 hours, but we have dolphins!
Last time on Red Seas, we made our way through the busy streets of Cartagena to find the ancient fort of San Felipe and all of its many underground tunnels. We couldn't help but jump out at a few unsuspecting tourists, and then things got a bit weird when we were mobbed by a school trip and had to spend 20 minutes having our photo taken with everyone. As if that wasn't strange enough, that night the streets of the city were overrun by 1,000 cowboys, and Ian found a new career as a real live Colombian groucho. There was live music for horses, kids dancing on top of horses, and hundreds of people from all over Colombia. The city of Cartagena has been noisy, overwhelming, and really fun. But as always, it's time to move on.
Well, it's kind of a happy, sad day today. We are finally choosing to leave from Colombia, heading to Panama. Yeah, it's been a bit of a shell shock being in the city, and now we're going to head to the remote islands of Panama and the sandblast. So the plan is to get the anchor up and hopefully not hit the hundreds of boats of traffic out there on our way. How do you feel about leaving the big city?
I mean, I loved it, but I am so ready for like a little bit of peace and quiet. My mind is just like moving a mile a minute, and I don't like that. I just got used to like being in the back of Beyond, and I'm happy with that.
Did you just say you like being slow?
Yeah, I love being slow. It's brilliant. There's too much pressure in city life. I can't handle it.
To the girl at the farm. So there you go. You're literally sailing through the same water that the Spanish Armada probably sailed through with gold that they'd stolen from South America.
That is pretty cool, isn't it?
It's kind of surreal.
And I feel like the water is disgusting enough that it is actually the same water from 100 years ago, 200 years ago, however long ago it was.
See, if I knew any famous Spanish galleon captains, I'd be saying you're currently sailing through their sewage, but hopefully the water has moved.
What a delightful thought, thanks for that.
There you go, yeah. You need to go. But imagine under here there's probably just the odd gold coin they flicked off for good luck.
Oh, jump in and get me one.
Or dropped a small...
I didn't really get a souvenir from Colombia. And we're sailing. It feels so good just to kind of have zero noise other than the waves just like gently slapping against our hulls as we go along. We're not going fast because there's so much growth on the bottom, but I'm happy. However, we have just noticed that our lazy jacks have almost chafed right through, so we're just going to try and see if we can lengthen them a little bit because we really don't want to lose that line through the mast and have to run another one. Do you think we have enough at the end?
We'll see. Of course, and we're sailing, so things break immediately. Yeah, we haven't got a lot of spare line, but we'll try and... If I can at least get the area that's chafed at the top down before it falls inside the mast, then maybe we can tie it shorter for now.
Yeah, it just makes the job easier later on.
So, like, I don't know, do we do education? For those who don't know how lazy jacks work, nor do I.
Tell me.
So basically, the idea is that it keeps the stack pack, which is our lazy way of dropping our sail, upright so the sail can fall into it. But they're also an absolute pain in the backside. But there's a line, so lots of individual lines go up to a single point, and that one line goes up and through the mast and comes down at the mast foot. And that's where we've chafed. We've also chafed at the back, but we'll deal with that later.
1 second.
Paused.
And not just got caught on the trampoline line.
Cool. So I guess if we get rid of all of that, and we just splice that loop back on here, then we've kind of made a clean set of lazy jacks and a line that goes all the way to the top.
Yeah, that'll do for now. Do you think it was chafing on the shrouds when we were at anchor?
I think just generally we didn't do a very good job. We got to Colombia and we were so tired we just left the sail out of its stack pack and everything. It was all
it was a mess.
So maybe we just everything's a bit loose and flappy, you know?
True.
Plus it's ancient line. I don't know when this was last changed.
All right, we've cut this bit of line off, we've tied it on, and yeah, that'll do for now at least.
The wind is dying down on us, and we just spotted these islands. These are the Rosario Islands, which they're still part of Colombia. They're still well inside Colombia's water, but they're not very well charted. So already we're having to kind of dodge some coral reefs and things. It's not too bad yet, it's not too dangerous, but we're going to scout our way around, and we figured we may as well crash here for the night, and then we'll catch the wind when it picks up again tomorrow, hoping that it picks up again. So yeah, we'll just have to kind of wind our way in under sail and see if we can get ourselves an anchorage on the backside of that island over there.
I am so glad that we stopped here. It is absolutely beautiful, and I can't believe it's only like a couple of hours away from Cartagena. I feel like we should have come here earlier. We could have come here sooner, but hey, we're here now. We can't stop for long though. We need to carry on to Panama, so we're going to take one day. We're going to have 24 hours here. We need to clean the hulls because it's been, I think, 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months since we cleaned them back in Carriacou, and we've been in a city for a couple of weeks. So this is a real test for Copaco. It has been working amazingly well for us so far. You're supposed to get just soft growth but no barnacles, and we've just been able to like rub it off fairly easily with soft sponges. But I think that may be about to change. So Ian has jumped in with dive gear. He's going to do like underneath the hulls, and then I'm going to jump in with a snorkel and just do the waterline, and we'll see if Copaco really does hold up as well as they claim.
Less than ideal, yeah. There was a lot more growth there. Although weirdly, almost all of it was barnacles, which is the opposite of what copper coats say should happen. We should have nothing but soft growth.
Yeah.
And instead we had nothing but shells all over the place.
And now they're all over these steps.
And now they're cutting our feet up. Yeah, I don't know. Cartagena is supposed to be known for being like the world's, is it like the world's worst? Or one of the world's worst? I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. The worst water for bottom growth or something.
Something like that. And boy, do we know about it. So, I don't know. I think what we'll do is we'll maybe keep an eye on it, because once you've got barnacles on the boat, when you scrape them off, they leave this little white circle of like, it's a calcium, I think, or something like that. So there's a little white dot where they were. And that is where the next barnacle is going to grow on top of. So hopefully by cleaning it now, if we catch it, it'll be fine, and just by moving it won't grow anymore. But if it starts to grow again, we might have to get in touch with the copper coat and find out what they have to say for themselves.
Yeah.
Because it shouldn't be this bad. It really shouldn't.
Yeah, so hopefully it was just like the fact that we were in a city, and now that we're back to islands, it's kind of manageable. But if that's the start of a slippery slope, then it's not ideal.
Yeah, so we'll see. Okay, so we tried to leave Colombia. Actually, we tried to leave about a week ago. We never really explained this to you, but when we submitted our paperwork, we had to use an agent, which we don't normally do, but in this case, it was kind of the rules. So we used an agent, and we gave all the paperwork in, and he checked us in. That took like almost a week as well, because it was over a weekend, so we gave him that. But when we went to check out, it was like a Tuesday, and he said, oh, but you know, there's a holiday on Thursday, so it might take a bit longer. And we're like, well, great, but the weather window is kind of over the weekend. We'd like to leave then. And in the end, he basically didn't check us out until the following Tuesday. Yeah, following Tuesday night. That's when we got the paperwork back. And what does that mean? Well, in most cases, you know, so what, your flight's delayed, you might take an extra room in a hotel or something. In our case, the weather has completely gone. This is what we have today. We can hear boats from miles away buzzing past. The birds are nesting in our boom. There is not a single breeze. There's not even any current here. I can see the bottom crystal clear, and yeah, we can even see our anchor chain. So It's not ideal because once we've checked out, we only have 24 hours. That's how long we get in their territorial waters before we have to go to the next place. And so, yeah, we have no choice but to go today. Kind of sucky.
It's so still and calm today. You basically can't even see the horizon. It's so hazy over there. It's like sailing into a dream. We're about to go into a fictional place that doesn't really exist. It's weird.
We don't have any space in the freezer, but one fish wouldn't hurt, right?
We still need to eat lunch. Quite a sad face.
So partly because we're time pressured, and partly because I'm naive and excitable, we didn't really manage to take advantage of the Rosario Islands, which is all of this. Somewhere underneath us, maybe even right now, is the world's most expensive shipwreck. So basically it's, what's it called again? The Santa Rosa, I think. And basically it's a Spanish galleon that was taking all the gold from South America out towards Spain when it got set upon by the British. And it had 63 cannons and it still went down. It still lost the fight.
Wow.
But in sinking, it took with it what is valued today as around $20 billion worth of gold.
And we didn't dive it?
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah. It's been there since, I think, the 1600s, something like that.
Amazing.
And it's just sat there. No one knew where it was till about 15 years ago. And some researchers finally found it and they confirmed it. They found the wreck and immediately everyone went to court over it because no one can decide who owns the gold. The Spanish want to say they own it because they stole it. The Colombians say they own it because it's in their waters. The Chileans and the Peruvians say it's theirs because it was stolen from them. And yeah, basically it works out that if they were to raise all of the treasure that's in that wreck, it would just sink the global economy because no one's ever accounted for all that gold. The gold standard doesn't know this exists. So supposedly, nobody has taken anything from the wreck. It is at 600 meters though, so I guess that could be true.
I feel like if you get down that far, you've earned it.
Well, I would have thought so, right? Like you've tried hard, you know, with your automatic rovers and stuff and your tech diving, but
So really people should be thanking us that we haven't ruined the entire world this weekend.
This weekend, we did not destroy your Christmas presents. We did not destroy your bank accounts and your world savings. So there you go.
We're so kind.
So generous. Wouldn't mind diving though, huh? It's somewhere here. It could be right there. It could be right there. We don't know. We could be on top of it right now.
Should we jump in and take a look, just in case? The
I
water's
think-
pretty clear.
I vote we put a mask on you, tie you off with a bowline and throw you off the back. And if you just wave, a bit like that scene in Waterworld, just do the sort of surfy thing.
Yeah, I could totally
and
do
you can
that.
signal to me when you see it. That'll work.
We were just starting to think that this passage was going to be super boring because absolutely nothing is happening and we're motoring for 24 hours, but we have dolphins! This is amazing. The water is so clear. Even when they kind of dive down underneath us, you can just still see for miles. It's amazing.
That's ridiculous. It's like a mirror. Oh, it's gone down.
Oh, it gives you a little boost though. I was getting so bored.
I do see one, but I'm a bit worried it's looking at our lure.
Oh yeah, it's still chasing us. They're back at the bow. Woo! Look at you beauties. Honestly, we are so lucky. It feels like every time we go on passage, we will see dolphins. And if we don't see dolphins, we'll see whales. It's just ridiculous. I love sailing.
The water is ridiculous.
should try throwing a GoPro in.
Way ahead of you.
That one's doing a poo!
I just saw like 4 of them swimming really deep under the boat, but they were swimming back. So I think they may have gone there.
I just saw one pooing at the front.
Could give me a heads up. Thanks. So I don't think we really explained where we're actually going. Unlike a lot of people who head straight towards the canal and they'll get ready to do that stuff, we're actually heading way further south. We're heading to an area called the Darien Gap, which is kind of unusual. It's right on the border between Panama and Colombia. And it's particularly interesting for us because it actually represents kind of the end of Scottish independence.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Basically, back in 1698, Scotland sent 4 ships with about 1,200 men to go and found New Caledonia in the Darien Gap. And their idea was that they would set up a trading post to marry up the Atlantic and the Pacific, kind of what we all know Panama for today.
Well, they set off kind of in the summer. I think they landed in November and
Fairly quickly, within a couple of years, they realized it just wasn't happening. Not only did it have fairly poor management, they weren't really sure what they were trading. They didn't realize that the Spanish pretty much owned the area, so the military were kind of a problem. And then the West Indies Trading Company got in the way as well and started blockading ports and making things difficult for them.
so very quickly it started to fall apart and by
Around 1700, they just said this isn't going to work, and they gave up. They left.
this wasn't such a problem except
20% of Scotland's economy was wrapped up in the project.
and so as soon as this all fell apart
Basically, Scotland was close to bankrupt. All the rich people, all the lairds, which is like a Scottish lord, had invested heavily in this and suddenly had no money left. So the rumour is that because of this failed project, in 1700, in 1707, that may be why Scotland signed the Declaration of Union or something like that. The UK was formed from that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to go and see a place that, had it gone one way, Scotland, the global nation, and it went the other way, Scotland, part of the UK.
Good morning. It has been a long and slow and boring night. The wind picked up slightly, so we were able to put the Genoa out, but it wasn't enough to actually sail. So we've been motor sailing all night, but it's kind of dying off again now. We've only got like 4 or 5 knots. So yeah, the Genoa is really not doing anything to help us. So I think I'm going to put it away just now. But we're only about 2 hours away from Panama, so that's something to look forward to. We will be arriving soon. So yeah, it suddenly starts to feel real. We'll be there for a couple of months. It'll be nice to slow down a little bit. We've been traveling much faster recently than I enjoy. It's good to see new places, but it's been a little bit of a whirlwind. And we're just coming into Panama now. We've got about an hour left on this journey. You can sort of see just through the haze, you can make out some mountains. That's Colombia over on that side, of Panama on this side. But there is suddenly so much waste in the sea. Like, there's just tree trunks everywhere. I've had to take off auto helm, like steer around them. It's as if somebody's like just chopped down a forest and thrown them all in the sea right here. They're all like semi-submerged, you only see them at the last minute, but huge tree trunks. It's so weird, but yeah, I think I'm gonna have to pay attention now. It's getting so moody now as all the clouds are coming in and sitting really low over the mountains. And I guess this is actually us finally leaving Colombian waters. That's Colombia right there. And we're sailing right on by. Farewell.
Okay, so that's just weird. There has been a thing in my head for the last 2 years that if we face west, it's gonna be blue water and it's just gonna be a line of horizon. There's land over there. There's Panama is now in the way between us and the horizon. That hasn't happened in 2 years. That's really cool. Also to our south is Panama, and just over this mountain is Colombia. So we're actually on the border. The border is literally just around that point, which you might not be able to see because of the sun. But yeah, we're literally the first bay after the border. And then we're gonna check in just beyond those breaking waves. It's gonna be fun. So we were just closing in and Brownie suddenly paused and said, "Can you smell that?" And yeah, it's weird. You can smell the rainforest, which is really hard to explain on camera, but kind of like, like a more lush, flavoursome smell of the little dangly air freshener tree you put in your car. Yeah, it smells yummy actually. It smells really nice. It's weird though, I'm starting to realise that these mountains here, quite possibly no one's ever walked on those. No one's ever seen what's in under those trees or anything like that. It's really a remote part of the world. The Darien Gap doesn't have like road access from the US or from Colombia from the south. So that's its name. The Darien Gap is the gap in the highway that they tried to build to link the two. So it's still owned by like 5 tribes, I think. So I don't know what this is gonna be like. We're meeting Victor, the customs agent, and yeah, it should be fun to find out a bit more about the place.